and our chairperson here, Byron Joseph, and as well as Yalo and Georgina, who are studying the current board. And as of end of May, our 10 years basically come to. Dixon also, he's not here, sorry, but he did say that he is delayed. He might probably only join after an hour or so. And we also have Commissioner Ronald James here, and as well as our chairperson on the NFC board, Esther Bierkes. So welcome, thank you for being here. These are our representatives on the NFC board. And yes, so today we are basically going to take you through the report of the chairperson. We're going to start with that in terms of sort of what has the past year looked like since the last AGM, and what have we been up to, and we'll also take you through the financials, what money have we received, what have we used it for, and also perhaps the current pending projects and ambitions that are currently ongoing. And then we will also get into an update regarding the NCCP, just briefly what was discussed yesterday, and also what happened in the last 2 days' introduction. Thank you.
Let's just honor the weight of the moment, if you please. So yes, thank you everybody for being here today again after 2 discussion process, just to get through some of the key questions and issues that are currently hanging around in the industry, and a lot of them probably around, especially, and also for attending over the past few days. The discussions were very, very, very fruitful. As it stands, I did share this, or I believe our secretary did share this report. Yeah, and I think 36 hours. Since we have assumed this responsibility of being he feels that there's a bit of traction for this creative industry. And I thank everybody's efforts in this regard to make it happen. It's not a one-man show, it's not a two-man show, it's not a three-man show, but it's of the film industry that we are very immature, that we like to fight a lot, we never really get anything done. And I think what you guys have proven over, especially the past 2 days, is the fact that we do have a very strong regionalization campaign currently underway. Our board member in that regard he's also joined in that particular portfolio, and then obviously they received a lot of assistance and help from Georgina, who also assists about 4 regions significantly, where we do have a small filmmakers community. So we do have some guys in the north, they're not as organized, but then in the Zambezi region where Jackson is hailing from, there we also have a very strong community. We did do workshops there, I think in the past month and a half, with nice attendance. I believe it was anywhere from 20 up to 50 people that attended those workshops over the 2 days, which was absolutely brilliant. So yes, I have to go to the Omaheke region, and we could establish that. What do you call it, chapter, if you please, or fan. So what I wanted to do, as you can see there, likewise congratulations to Chico and Pao for producing an authentic, proudly homegrown, and that we want to support as an association. They do have a web series out, I think about 2 years back or last year, when we were having these conversations. The trending web series at that time, I believe, Mabuza Them, it was Mabuza Them's production. What was it called again, Mabuza? Mabuza, what was your web series called again? Oh yeah, Ompata. Yeah, we all know the Ompata thing. Yeah, no, sorry. So absolutely, and that's very encouraging when you see young people taking the initiative without any help, support, and they're actually telling the stories. They don't wait for the support first to start telling the stories. And that is something that we definitely should encourage across the sector. I actually wanted to get Pius on the line. just to hear from them. They should be watching us from the regions as we speak. Once I get through this, I'll just go connect the phone there, and then maybe Pius can tell us a bit about what's happening in the Karas region. That's where they are hailing from. So yes, we are decentralizing, and it's obvious, it's apparent. Please go check out the reports of especially Georgina, Jackson, and Angelo. Strengthening the institution, as you could have seen then, and as you will see in those reports, we have had numerous engagements, numerous meetings, both with the filmmaker community, with our membership, but also with a lot of stakeholders over the past few years. I think, Yalo, you could maybe just correct me there, but I believe it was about almost 22 individual engagements that Yalo minuted. That's where she got that particular statistic from. So yes, the things are on record, and there's actually a growing body of evidence for this association, or evidence of the work that we are doing as an association. I believe many of these documents will be made available through the website for your perusal, minutes, etc., etc. The other one that I absolutely have to touch on is the partnerships and the associations. Once again, there has been this pervasive falsehood or false impression that there is no synergy between all the big players within the industry. NFC is doing their own thing, NBC is doing their own thing, FAN is there struggling on their own. The reality is, even for something like NCCP, there was a lot of people involved, a lot of institutions and associations. So even if you just look at that list here, you can see that as a fraternity, as a creative community, we actually have such good support from our government and from the institutions that are supposed to support, to support us in this regard. So once again, thank you to the Namibian Film Commission, the Ministry of Information, Communications and Communications Technology, the Directorate of Arts, and I have to single them out because that's how we got the route into NDP 6 and even up to NCCP, the ministry itself, MISAC, the Namibian Broadcasting Corporation. They've recently joined us and come to the table. So there's still a lot of work that could be done there, but we are very thankful that there is actually some traction and that we're sitting and discussing in the same rooms as of late, rather than having separate conversations in isolation. The Creative Institute of Africa, where we are sitting today, that was one of our first key partnerships. Just a reminder, if you are a FAN member, you stand to get up, I believe, up to 50% discount if you come and get some of these awesome props and costumes and stuff. So please do make use of them. We really do appreciate these gestures in support of the industry. So yes, a big thank you to all our partners, and we should endeavor as a community to not only maintain that, but to grow those relationships. Yalo? Okay, looking ahead, if you may. Yeah, and I think that very first line says it, and I think this AGM, even in terms of its agenda points, it's really defining for the industry. I don't know how many times I said it because I've heard it, so I've been told this so many times by stakeholders and industry players, that this is not the first time. We've been here before, we've tried before. One of the big questions that I kept on being asked is now what will be different this time? And I think in the conversations that we had over the past few days, I think the first most apparent thing is, no, we're not here to enrich ourselves. This is not a selfish, self-serving project. It's not for a select few. We're trying to spread it as wide as possible, hence low budgets. Yeah, because we're trying to spread it too thin, to include too many, as many people as we can. But the reality is that the people involved there, they cannot pitch for any of these funds. The chairperson sitting over there, myself, the people, they are not part of the organizing committee of the discussions around NCCP, which I must actually clarify here quickly, which is not all of the board. It's essentially me and Shuna. I believe Yalo was there as well. Georgina, in the beginning stages, she was there as well with Vixen. Both of them recused themselves because realistically speaking, they might want to pitch for one or two of these things. But they're not part of the decision-making body or the people that will be creating the call-outs and stuff like that. So they shouldn't have any unfair advantage. So we're trying to keep it as transparent as possible in that regard. But for those making the decisions, drawing up the plans, drawing up the call-outs, those people will stand aside and allow the industry to benefit from this initiative. I just have to emphasize, it's all good and well that we are transparent and we have integrity, and I believe we've at least shown that to a degree. It's all good and well, but I have to point out, as I did point out yesterday, that this is actually just the tip of the iceberg of what we could achieve or what we've been working towards achieving. 17.5 million for a program that was initially pegged at 50 million, or that we budgeted for at 50 million. There's also another program, as I've been saying, the Triple P model, which I believe is closer to 100 million, to try and make bigger, better quality international traveling films or content. So we still have to work on that. We still have to go and push for that. We cannot become complacent and think that the 17.5 is all we need. The reality is it's not. The reality is also government's commitment extends much further than this 17.5. I think it's less than, it's definitely less than 10% of what they have committed through NDP 6 over the next 5 years, which is 250 million for the entire creative industries. But film is recognized as a leading industry within that sector to help the whole creative industries grow. Because we can add value from anybody, from a painter to a seamstress to a set builder, you name it, a musician. Everybody can benefit through our success. And I would ultimately like to leave us with that. Is that our success, what we do, the decisions that we make, is not individualistic. It's not just for ourselves. We're actually influencing the nation. And for this, I would like to then commend the fan board, my compatriots and my fellow board members for doing this thankless job. And I can say it, I can say that openly. You all know this is a very thankless job. Yeah. $200 to attend a meeting. Yeah, sometimes we didn't even have the $200 to attend the meetings. But yes, we pushed through and we actually made it. And I think the difference is seen, and I felt the appreciation coming from the community. So once again, thank you very much, fan family. It was a pleasure, and it is a pleasure serving you guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, and really a huge congratulations to you. Thank you for holding our hands through this last year. So in regards, yes, exactly. So would like to open up the room before we move on to the next report or the next agenda point. Are there any questions in the room in regards to our chairperson's report? There is a roaming mic. No, here is a mic. We'll start with Esther, and then we'll head to Obed.
Thank you so much, Byron, Chairperson. We really, really honor your leadership, and being a part of the first, the board last year, I know how hard it is, and finding each other and personalities and artists all together. I know it wasn't easy. I think my only question to you, Byron, is with the current board in all of those days, what do you think were some of the failures? Can you openly say okay, this is where maybe these are the things we tried that we haven't worked out yet or we're still figuring out? And number two is, what do you feel like the next phase should look like? If you're not going to be on the board for this next year, what would you leave for whoever's going to come in? What are you saying? What do you believe the focus should be? I mean, whether it's in terms of programs or in terms of how we can be better united as an industry. Yeah, what do you think is lacking? I mean, you've got access to basically everyone and you've had conversations with everyone, so yeah.
All right, okay. Okay, that'll be lovely, thanks. Okay, yeah, now let's deal with those two hefty questions from the get-go. Where did we fail? Wow. Wow, that's it. You should have sent the questions yesterday, man. But honestly, and really, this is just me speaking out, like from a personal perspective. I just feel that for us as a board, it's sometimes there's been this disconnect with the community, where it would seem like we're kind of doing things on our own. But the things we're doing is just for the community. As you've noticed, none of us has benefited, not even from an NFC call out over the past 2 years. So everything we've done was for the community. And I think somebody also mentioned it yesterday. So maybe we should have been more vocal about our successes, and we should have been clearer about all the progresses that we are making. And maybe just basically then saying we should have kept the membership better informed, more involved. It does come with a caveat, which is that obviously apathy is a big problem within the industry. As soon as things are going well, people don't show up. They only show up when there was trouble. They only showed up when there was trouble. But now when things are going well, that's also when you need the support to keep up the momentum. Which kind of brings me to my to your second question. So what do I see is necessary for the future? Is continuity to a great degree, keeping up the momentum. I think that'll be essential. So how do we do that? Maintain the relationships. Don't go and reinvent the wheel. It doesn't make sense. It's like 2 years of progress down the drain if you want to start something brand new now. And by when do you hope that thing to be concluded? I think we've come so far in this process, but the reality is we're not done yet. There's not a single cent in any filmmaker's pocket here. So until that is done, we cannot relent. We cannot let up as a community. We have to make sure that those key constraints of the industry that we identified is addressed, and they are addressed sufficiently. Funding, equipment, skills transfer. And once again, as we've been pointing out, that's one of the key objectives that we have with a program such as NCCP. But don't become complacent. Let's keep working hard. There's still a long way to go that'll benefit everybody.
Yeah, I was also going to touch on it later on, but I mean, since we're here and talking about it, I think the areas also of improvement for me also were perhaps your better sort of engagement and communication with our members, because I think that there's a whole conversation around saying that, listen, you've entrusted us to lead the industry, or to lead you guys and be your representatives for the industry. And then other times it's like, okay, yes, we've trusted you guys are our leaders, but also please just let us know what you're up to. So sometimes you don't know how much of it you need to communicate. You know, how many do we communicate every decision, every step? Do we consult every decision, every step? Obviously, maybe not to that extreme, but others, there are certain points where members feel like this is important. You should have told us about this, or you should have come to us before deciding that. And then sometimes we're like, oh, but that is sort of like what we're here for, to make decisions on behalf of the industry, because we've done the assessments. We've done the research around the industry in terms of our needs, and so I think also sometimes you kind of like ask for for grace, and also for faith, but also for trust. You know what I mean? The other issue for me is that, so we didn't really have a treasurer this past tenure. Mr. Ina left us at the last AGM. So I kind of like had to, play quite a few roles in terms of, releasing payments, or, just deciding on certain budgets, etc. And we couldn't afford an accountant, because I think that that also allows for sort of like an area of improvement in terms of, membership drive, perhaps increasing our visibility to welcome more members so that, we can have more income on that end. But also in terms of sponsorship and funding drive, for resources. For example, the Constitution has kind of been in the discussion, but obviously that would require also like legal fees. Should we get to that point? Should we agree to even want to start that process with the members? But also just to make things a bit easier for us. I mean, there's sort of like a lot of times where we have to either use our own funds for certain, transportation, or perhaps that month we didn't have enough money to pay Yalo, who's also been our administrator since the beginning. And she plays a very crucial role because, I mean, you guys hear from her all the time. She's the one who communicates with you guys and helps us with some of these documentations. So I think that maybe there could be better, like a funding drive from our end and perhaps more time to that so that we don't have to use our own resources. I mean, and money is always like a sensitive thing, for people. Yeah, what did you use this money for? And yeah, how come we only have this much left in the account? In the past, those always have kind of been a conversation. And apart from airtime and transport, I mean, that's really what we use our money for. And I think that also perhaps there could have also been better communication with the NFC. There was a discussion that I had with Herta the one day, and I think I was a little bit upset with her. And I said, Herta, you guys have Film Week coming up, and you have not involved us. And she said, no, like it's not an issue. You can just let us know if there are certain programs that the NFC is doing, and just let us know what you want to be a part of. So I think that there could be a better relationship with the NFC board as well. I think it's something that I've been vocal about very often enough. So I think it's just sort of like a two-way thing from their end and from our end. We'd also try to have more meetings with the board, but I know that it's difficult to get the board together at the NFC. But we just wanted to do either like a bi-monthly check-in with the NFC board and see where we are. But I think that is also sort of like an area of improvement in terms of just alignment for that direction for the industry. Yeah, I think that's just what I want to touch up on. Are there any areas of improvement from the two gentlemen? I'll give the mic to Jackson.
Yeah, she said it all. And also what I wanted to inform you also is about the Namibia Film Commission. Also maybe they want like us to be to know their programs. As I was busy doing this regionalization, they said also we should give them our program wherever we are going. So also they can be there also to see how do they support the fan.
All right, any other questions before we proceed? Okay, thank you. All right, there's one more. And why are we starting with the is it getting interesting?
Yeah, good morning. My name is Obed Mvula, and I'm an actor, writer, producer. I really want to commend the fan board in going through these 2 years and getting done what you guys have gotten done. Having been there, I know that it's not easy. And also when we revive FAN, some of us, we didn't want to sit on the board because we know what it comes with. So I really want to congratulate you guys in terms of what you guys have accomplished. We'll get into the discussion later on in terms of where I feel perhaps where the gaps were. And just as for shadowing, I think that what guides us and what drives us is primarily the FAN Constitution, the aims and objectives of the FAN Constitution. And I don't know how you guys got through it, especially the second year, without funding. So my question is, how did you guys go through it without funding?
Okay, so I think then that kind of like ties into the next point, which I was going to present on, which is sort of what we've received in the last year from the NFC. I think we can project that it's just I know our filmmakers don't like to read. So we simplified it for you and did a one-pager instead of having to page through various. All right. So what happened here is that we basically, everything that we did was mainly through the NFC. In the past, annually FAN would get industry support from the NFC. Now, since the beginning of our tenure and since the revival of FAN, this has not been possible. In the first year, we had found some money that was in the account, even though it was dormant. So that helped us quite a lot, and that took us kind of like through the first year almost. And in the second year, even though we have an MOU with the NFC, there was another requirement that we were made aware of towards the end of the year to say that we need to, I think there's supposed to be a financial, there's supposed to be, or the NFC has to create some kind of a financial policy to avail that funding, which is still in progress. So in the meantime, what they requested from us is to identify the projects or the programs that we want to carry out, and then basically they will then, deliberate on that and then provide funding on a project basis, on a program basis. So the 333,000 is not the total money that we've received to run programs. It is money that was also used for Film Week. So remember, NFC is a government entity, right? And they have certain procurement processes they need to follow. And to make it easier to pay all the panelists who were part of the Film Week, or to pay some of the suppliers that helped us during Film Week, they would then channel those funds through us, and then we would then pay it to the suppliers, or the service providers rather. And then, so most of the money was for that, but we did receive 142,000, which was for regionalization, which is still ongoing because currently we've only been to Katima and Rundu, and we still have other regions that we need to tackle. And the second one was supposed to be for the standardization and accreditation workshop, which now happened in the last 2 days. And then thirdly, it was also for the industry mixer that we had a month and a half ago where we met. So we are obviously almost there in terms of the programs, but there's still the regionalization that still needs to happen, and there's still money left for that process to happen. So this report is the period ending is it's a report for the period ending 31 May. So obviously there've been transactions that have happened this month, to cater for today's AGM and also yesterday's, or the last 2 days, sanitization workshop as well. So currently what we've used for the regionalization was 41,000. For the industry mixer, it was about 19,000.1. And then we also have administrative expenses. So as you know that we do have Yalo who is on board and who is, we roped her in. We had to just pull her in and say, listen, we want you to become a board member now. But initially Yalo's role has always been administrative from the onset, right? And also remember at the last AGM, we didn't have enough people who availed themselves to run for the following tenure. So we convinced Yalo to come on board since she was already involved with our daily activities, and but her administrative role, we didn't want to take that away from her, so we still kept it separate as well. But this is basically how we survived, and I mean, administrative expenses also include transportation. So whenever there is an important meeting, we do send whatever board member needs to attend that meeting, transportation. We do have 2 members who live in Osona, so obviously their transportation is a bit more expensive than some of us who are in Windhoek, so it varies in that sense. But what we've also done is that we've opened up a Google Drive where all of our invoices and all of our bank statements are availed. So we want to be transparent, right? So if there's any paid up member who feels like they want to go through our statements, and perhaps also just for the sake of accountability, right? You have access to those Google Drives. We can share those links with you upon your request. Yeah, so that's why I said earlier on as well that I think that there's an area of improvement there that we need to really see how we can lobby for more funding. And perhaps also, I don't know, if Esther maybe at the end can, come in on behalf of NFC just to update us in terms of what that financial policy looks like, and if perhaps there could be a possibility for annual funding for FAN. But that would obviously make it more easier, and also then we can identify more programs. Because currently as it is, I think we're just living on a project-to-project basis. Obed is laughing. It's unfortunate, but that's where we are right now. And so between the NFC and the whatever following board that's going to have the next run, I think that is really an important area, because there's not much we can do without money, without funding, because we can't do the trainings that we want to do, and we can't do a lot of traveling as well. We can't go to festivals, for example, and represent the industry. We're unable to do that at the moment. But yeah, that's the current reality.
I think your question was, how did we go about it without funding? There was a point when we had nothing to pay ELO. And then there was this humble gentleman called Ina, who paid for her salary for was it 3 months? Okay. Yes, so they had to stand up and just to get for the job that she was really doing for us while we had our other commitments. So Yalo was our backbone, and so they just felt, let's just do that for her.
Hi guys. Okay, I've got somebody from the region here that I'd just like to connect. Just bear with me. Okay, hi there, Pius. Is that coming through yet? Pius? Hello? Why is it not going through? Okay, let me try and call you on the normal cell phone line. That one was working perfectly fine. Pius? Look. Yeah, can I call on the regular line? The WhatsApp is not going through. Oh my goodness, maybe there's another number there. Just quickly send me another number, then we'll try and do that again. Okay, just bear with me. We can continue for now while I try and set this up. Okay, I'll just try and get back to Pius. But it would be nice to have a few comments and questions from the regions as well. So just bear with me, but we can continue with the program.
Okay, so in the meantime, can we have the following question for Florian?
Hi. I do only have two questions about this report. The first one is this report for the tenure of the board, the last 2 years, or is it the last year? That's the first question. And then the second question is, I can see now it's, of course, the funding and the membership fees kind of minus the expenses is the bank balance. So we are to assume that the bank balance was actually on zero when you started, or 1 year ago, just to make sure. Or is it a new account that you started?
No. This is for the last year. So this is for the period from our last AGM to now. So this is for the last 12 months. Yeah. And what was the second question? At the last AGM. Yeah. The next question.
So for the current board and also the next board that continues, it's important to know this. The FEN board of 2015, when they negotiated the MOU, the challenges and the opportunities were presented to the NFC. And the NFC took the MOU to the minister to sign. So the MOU has got nothing to do with the film policy. That's number one. So for FEN not to be receiving its annual funding based on an MOU, maybe we can get some clarification in terms of like why that's not happening. Or how far have you guys gone to present the MOU as a signed document by the minister in 2015?
The MOU was signed by the Executive Secretary of the Namibia Film Commission. It was not signed by the minister. So is it a document that's supposed to be signed by the minister? Because is it between the ministry, or is it, because I understand that the MOU is between NFC and FAN. So I think we were not aware of the minister also having to sign.
So I was the chairperson of the Film Commission at that time. And for the industry to be recognized, particularly FEN to be recognized as the only body to represent filmmakers, we took it to the minister, even though the DD signed as representative of the MICT. So where the miscommunication comes from, I think we need to clarify that.
Yeah, perhaps maybe that's also, Esther can also comment on that.
Thank you so much for that, Obed. And that might actually be the solution, because that's one of the challenges that we had on the board, Ronald and myself, because the big question was, you know, why is FAN being supported? Are there not any other associations? You know, and every time we try and kind of lobby to get that money, the question was, why FAN only? And there was no real supporting document that said, this is the main only recognized film body. So I think the concession that we ended up being able to get the fellow board members to agree to was that we support on a program basis. So give us a list of the plans for the year, and we'll support program by program. The one budget line I know that we were unable to get an agreement on with the board was around the administrative costs of running FAN. The idea is, you know, where do associations get, why government institutions don't support associations' administrative costs, you know? So yeah, maybe that should be the approach, to say, okay, let's go directly to the minister and say, hey guys, we've got people in the regions, we're doing this, this is what we've done. Maybe we present our report to the minister and have that in writing, because it makes it easier for us to also to defend this, this point when it comes to funding for FAN.
But do you have another comment for that, or you're good? Okay, all right. Any other question in the room? All right, and okay. And also what I also forgot to mention in regards to when we make payments like Film Week, when the NFC does send us money, so what they do is they'll give us a commission, like a 10% commission as well, for our bank charges, and obviously just for the administrative process of it. So some of those amounts would then also assist us in running our administrative operations.
Yeah, morning everyone. Panache. I think maybe my only comment would be, as part of this next chapter and those lessons learned, maybe it can be looking to getting somebody that can help look at alternative funding sources. I think I mentioned it last time as well. I think there's a lot of funding that exists. There's a lot of donors that are out there. Maybe it's a portfolio that needs to be looked at on just fundraising, whether it's sponsors locally, but also internationally. I think there's a lot of funds that would fund something like this, especially because it's among government priorities. So you look at KFW, you look at GIZ, all these guys, they build roads which cost billions of dollars. And that's purely because programs are in National Development Plan. So having the creative sector represented as part of the, one of the 7, plus also having it in NDP6 with the traction, I think you can raise quite a lot of money to diversify that income.
Yeah, we do have a partnerships portfolio, which is Mr. Vixen's portfolio. But obviously it requires maybe the entire board, to do that. So for international partnerships and collaborations or outreaches, no, not outreaches, but partnerships. Yes, it's just partnerships. But I think, it's more maybe of a capacity. Yeah, okay, so maybe have one portfolio for just simply fundraising. We used to have treasury and fundraising as one portfolio. But like I said, now we didn't have a treasurer in the last year. And so we did have a capacity issue. And I think maybe looking at the next board, maybe we also think carefully around who would be strong enough for certain portfolios and to perhaps aid us in some of our weaker areas. Mr. B, is Piers maybe not able to send a voice note, and then maybe we can just play it? Is it a very important comment, or is it a question that can be typed, or?
Yep. Yes, I'm here. Good morning, everyone.
Yes,
my name is Piers Domingos. I'm a filmmaker from Hardap region and also a member of the Filmmakers Association of Namibia.
Okay, lovely, Pius. Recently you became one of our regional representatives. Can you just give us some insights as to what's happening in terms of the film community in the regions where you are active?
Sorry, can you please repeat the question?
I'm asking, so in terms of the filmmakers community in the regions where you are active, can you just give us an insight as to how many people you have there? Are you guys actually busy? What are you guys busy with? And if there are any comments or questions for the board at the AGM, you are most welcome to share those.
Okay, so within Hardap region, things have been really quiet for a few years, but since joining FEN, it really has had a huge impact on me. It has given me the credibility, opened doors, and inspired me to do more filming in the Hardap region. Right now, we are already around 65 people. Sorry?
Please say that again. How many people do you have?
Sorry?
You might be hearing the echo, so you can continue. How many people do you have there?
We have around 65 people. And our only hope is that FEN can continue reaching out to regions, especially Hardap region, because there is so much untapped talent in Hardap region. With more workshops, training, and supporting our region, we can grow the film industry.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that comments. So what are you guys looking forward to? What extra support would the regions need from FEN to make sure that film is decentralized?
I think it's more about what we are interested in is improve workshops that can improve the skills of filmmaking, people understanding the what do we call it, the theory of film, because when I arrived in Hardap region, I realized that people are only used to making films like as if they're creating, let's say, content like TikTok shows. They don't understand the film theory, the skills, the lack of skills, but the passion and the talent is there.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much for those comments. Capacity building being very important. So we share those objectives. Please do follow us further online. If you do have any further questions, you can WhatsApp them through or just comment on the feed. Thank you very much, Pius. And yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Much appreciated. Bye.
Okay.
Okay, lovely.
Awesome. Okay. All right. I think, Yellow, if you can just pull up the agenda again for the AGM, please. So I know that there was a conversation around the amendments of the Constitution, and there were points that we wanted to submit to you for reviewing, but I think we couldn't, either we couldn't necessarily come to a finalization for that specific document, but just from the room, if it's something that people have had a look at, because it's been obviously forwarded to the membership. But one of the reasons that we wanted to change the Constitution was to clarify certain clauses that were not, that left almost gaps, but also it didn't help us in terms of certain problems or disputes that we had, and we just wanted to sort of like make provision for certain disputes. And also there was a conversation around a sitting fee. If now there is a portfolio that, you know, is doing their job in terms of raising funds, and we do have money on the board, would membership be open to a sitting fee? Yeah, just to perhaps incentivize the board members, because in the last AGM, for example, it was very difficult to get members on board because everybody noticed that you're doing so much work just for nothing, just to stand as a glass house. So it was just basically to add that incentive. That was really one of the reasons why. So it's not like we are now going to amend the Constitution and that's it. But it was supposed to be sort of like an engaging conversation. And I know that Vixen had come up with a few points that he did want to tackle around the Constitution. But perhaps, I don't know if it can be left for an SGM. But I know that within the Constitution, I think constitutional amendments can only be done at AGMs, if I'm not beside myself.
If I could maybe just add to that, because the reality is the constitutional change was on the agenda from the very first AGM in 2024. So comes last year's AGM, 2025. As you now heard, we didn't have a cent in the bank account to actually do the due process to make those changes. We actually did engage a few people in that. I'm not sure what Uno's surname is, but one of the lawyers that gave me advice on that did point out that because I went there with a specific clause, we need to change the tenure from a 1-year tenure to a 3-year tenure, so it coincides with the NFC, the NFC cycle for the commissioners. But when she looked at our constitution, she said the thing is so full of loopholes and things that are unclear. You actually need to do a proper revision of it, and that's kind of where we got stuck, because now you actually need a professional to come in and help us with that. I think one of the reasons that is on the agenda right now, constitutional amendment, is to try and get the mandate then for the board going forward to actually go and implement one or two of these, or actually to work on them, and then implement or at least augment those things, bring it back to the membership. Where you can verify it. As our constitution says, we can only do this at an AGM. But I would like to wonder whether we can just get the mandate here, everybody votes on that, on those points that we want to change, and then we actually go and implement the changes. Because I think it's been one of those things that has just been hanging there in the air and never getting resolved. So I would like to walk away with that one resolved. Thank you very much. But I think, Vixen, if you could maybe just add a comment or two there.
Yeah, like he said, I mean, looking at the changing of the constitution is not quite a simple thing of implementing. When you look at the constitution as it is, because that will remain kind of the guiding or the regulating document within everything, and that's very important that all that mandate is given. When we sort of look through, they really, from the, just like looking at what is presented or what is in there, the areas of concern, we did not come across so many. I think only some of them that we have discussed among ourselves as to bring to the membership, for example, the tenure thing and or the issues around the sitting allowances or financial decisions that have to be made. And I don't get it here right now, but I mean, there may be some clauses that gives kind of a leeway for people to make those financial decisions, especially, I put it on the other document, on the questions, yeah, the areas where we needed to look at. I was, unfortunately, can't find it here now. But there are quite few, and it will be helping a lot if members also then familiarize themselves with the Constitution. What we have observed is that people don't really, I think the Vice Chairperson said, our people don't want to read. But it is important, crucially important that when we are guided by a document as an organization, it's crucial that everybody knows what they are talking about. When you raise a point, you want to refer to a certain clause or subsection in the Constitution. So, yeah, going forward, I think the incoming board will probably need to take it up again and with the guidance of the membership.
Mr. Byron, we have some questions here.
Okay, just a note. Angelo has to leave. He has excused himself. Work is calling. I don't know, Angelo, if there's anything that you want to say as you bid farewell to this tenure.
Yeah, guys. As per my report, I also had some things to say regarding my tenure as a board member, which was challenging and very challenging to go into a board thing that you never knew how it gets run, what the Constitution really means when you have to do things you think you can just bulldoze and all that, but through time, we did get at the point where we do understand what we were doing, and which was supposed to be for the industry and not for ourselves. At some points, at some time, I do understand we did try to do things what we thought was best for the industry, but then at the same time, we also did it in a way that we were supposed to consult and probably get a better solution for that specific thing. And yes, here and there, but the good part of it was great knowing how much of us do really love this industry and how many of us do really want to see how far we want to go with this industry. So there, I hope whoever's going to take over from what I did does have the same passion as what I have for this industry, to take it further, to make sure it does reach every single corner in this country, even abroad, so we can all can grasp from this, because it's not a thing that you just do out of the blue. It comes with passion. And therefore, we all know, and I can look at people's faces as I'm speaking now, that most of you are here just to see the betterment of this industry. And I thank you very much for being here, all of you. Even those online, thank you very much. But I have to leave, guys. I'm very sorry. Some other commitments are calling. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Angelo. It was a pleasure serving with you. Yes, there was a comment from the room.
Hi again, everyone. I'm sorry I'm hogging the mic. I don't know if this is a constitutional change, so I'm just going to pitch it to the room. But I very strongly feel that with regards to voting in the next NFC representatives, I would like to propose to the membership if there's any way we can do this where we vote someone in, or we vote the people in maybe before even our term has come to an end, so that we can kind of prepare whoever's going to take over the role. So I'm really trying to see, can we figure out some sort of succession plan where we make sure that that handover is smooth, we have enough time to give people the ropes and show them what's going on and all of that. I just found that, especially with Ronald and myself, it took me almost a year, if not 2 years, really to fully grasp and understand the system and how it works, and where I fit in and what type of decision-making power I have and all of that stuff. So obviously you rely solely really on the secretariat at the NFC board. However, it's very dangerous coming into such a position without having proper preparation and consultation and, sitting with the people that were on the board before and all of that. And I don't know if that's something that we put either into our constitution, or if we just do a policy around, what does succession look like, and how do we make sure that whoever's coming in is well prepared and not just baptism by fire. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, and your term ends?
End of, 2027, December.
December 2027.
Yes.
Okay, so that would actually still go through another AGM before you step down.
So that's why, or maybe it should be at the next AGM we do it, and
Next
then those
year.
few months, leading up to the end of our tenure, then we can start preparing this person. But I just thought, let me put it to the room, see what the veterans are feeling. What do we think, will that work? Have we tried that before? And yeah.
Yeah. So I think normally as well, I think since we revived FAN, we had that voting that took place. We voted for the board, and then we also voted for the NFC representatives at the same time. But unfortunately, their appointment was only made towards September, I believe. And so if we're saying that next year at the AGM, we are voting for the new board, we can then simultaneously perhaps also vote for the two successors. And then already end of May, leading up to December, then that could probably be the time that can be used for that handover or the succession thereof. It's a proposal.
Hi, thank you. I just want to reiterate what Esther was saying. It is being thrown into a hot pot of flames. You just arriving there thinking you're now going to make changes in the world, in the film industry, is a pipe dream. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of consultation. Every step you have to push every step. And so what Esther is saying, I agree with, in the fact that we need to. When we arrived as NFC commissioners, we didn't have a single word from the previous board, not a single do or a don't, nothing. So we have had to basically find our way to the light switch and switch the light on in the room. And I feel that once we step down, we need to actually give the next two people a better grasp of what is happening in the boardroom at the NFC. Thank you.
And I think, I mean, we also have the benefit of having industry veterans and people who have been on the previous NFC board. Perhaps, you know, there also needs to be some kind of meeting or almost like an induction, you know. But I think that also between not just the board, but the industry veterans who have been, you know, commissioners before as well, you know, maybe there also needs to be perhaps more communication and more guidance from there. Maybe that's something that we should have done, you know, to consult or to at least, you know, always lean on.
Yes, and there's also the other element is that every time there's a new board, that new board has a new vision, and then they push for their vision. And they've got 3 years to push that vision through. And if they don't get it through by the end of the 3 years, the next board that comes on has a new vision, and they forget about the previous board's vision because there was no communication, there was nothing aligned. So it is important that at least if the next NFC board is chosen, that they can continue with the work Esther and I have started. Thanks to you guys. I mean, the working conditions and the rates, I didn't thumbsuck that. I got that from FAN. So hopefully the next NFC commissioner will then be able to take that even further, maybe even get it into the Labour Act, you know. That's for an example, amongst many other things.
Tim, thank you. Thank you, Commissioner.
Maybe just because the commissioners from the filmmaking community are getting that opportunity via FAN should sign an MOU with those commissioners, which then includes something like an exit report or a handover protocol of some sort.
We have already signed an MOU with FAN, but then obviously we would need to update it. Me as an individual
Esther and
appointed
Ronald.
to the
Yes.
NFC, and Esther as an individual appointed to the NFC's board. We've got an MOU with FAN. Yeah.
Yes,
but we can always update that, I think. Gladly.
Yeah, no, I absolutely love the comment that you have that there should be an exit report, and we'll probably update the MOU. But that's one of the nice things, or one of the boxes that we can tick as a board, that we do have. Yeah, we do have the MOU between our FAN representatives on the NFC board.
Yes, Obed?
Yeah, I just want to agree with everybody, especially with what Esther said. The key thing here is that we must understand how government works, okay? When government comes up with ideas, they will say, let's set up an agency over there. Let's set up a ministry over there. Let's come up with NDP 6. Then we all adopt NDP 6. Nobody comes to you and says, oh, this is how we're going to implement it. This is how you translate NDP 6 into an implementation plan, into action. So I agree with what Esther and Ronald James are saying. It doesn't take 3 years to catch up. It takes 7 years to catch up. Okay? The exit report is very key, but it also means that everyone on FAN board who's on any external institution must also sign an MOU with FAN. That is, it's not just for people at the NFC. It's for everyone who's on an external body. Because that brings us back to the information gap between board and members. Every time the FAN board meets the NFC, NFC will have their minutes. You need to have your own minutes. And then those minutes, you share it with FAN members. So that every time, let's say the minister walks in and she says, what does the industry need? We all know what the industry needs. Before you even get to the minutes, I'm sorry I'm taking a bit of time, but once you have a board meeting, the next board meeting, you are reading the minutes. from the previous meeting. And then you have to rectify those minutes. That's another 2 meetings. The year is over. Because you only have 4 meetings in a year. The year is over. So now when you go to the board members and you say, but you're not doing X, Y, Z, it's very hard for that board member to infiltrate the system because you are held up at minutes before you even get to KPIs. Is this done? Okay, and that's why even for presidencies, 5 years, it goes like this. So I think what we need to do is we need to get behind the idea of exit reports and minuting, because when something is written down, then everybody can see. Then we can also hold people accountable, including at the NFC, including at the ministry. Right now, we don't know if we want to hold somebody accountable. Where do we go to? It's only people like us who have been there who know how the system works and know what to do.
But I think even with accountability, I think one of my biggest frustrations last year, and we had that long meeting with the NFC board, was the strategy process, right? One of the intense heated meetings that we had was when I found out that there was a strategy in place and FAN did not get consulted. So, and what one of the commissioners said to me was that we've come up with a strategy, we're going to take it to the minister, and then we'll bring it to you for revision. And for me, that process obviously should have been the other way around, right? To say that, okay, can the NFC board and FAN meet and identify sort of like the needs and where we want to go? And perhaps in the next 3 years as you guys are there, because we've got 2 representatives from FAN for a reason. So for me, it's also something that I think that we need to address. Obviously, it's probably a 3-year strategy, right? But I'm just saying now, in terms of the next 10 year now, maybe that's also something that needs to be mentioned for the next commissioners, to say that maybe before you conclude on a strategy, have maybe FAN be part of one of those sessions in Swakop or wherever you guys do the strategies. And then perhaps you guys can at least pick up from there. And even when there are minutes that are being reported to the industry, we're working or we're holding you accountable to something, which is a strategy, right? Because it doesn't help now that we're pushing something and the commissioners are pushing something else. Obviously, I mean, your strategy doesn't have to, fully be just for what FAN wants. I'm sure there are also other KPIs and mandates that you guys, have as well. But I think for me, that is definitely something that was a big one for me during this last year.
Yeah, if I maybe just hop on to the issue that you just brought up now. I think we have a reason to celebrate, but I think it's a bit too soon. Because over the years, I think even before we revived FAN, there was this detachment between the FAN or the NFC, where people kind of were doing their thing, and I think that's what carried over into the new beginning now, the renaissance. And also, there are a couple of challenges, really, that as it is, Film Commission is not even legal. It's, I think, so there's no act really, and it has to like almost start over again. And then questions were being asked, what happens to like their body, which body is it, and what form is it going to take? Is it going to be an NFVF kind of thing? Is it going to be like a Westgrow or whatever, that certain body? And I know that it's been whispered that there is a change coming for that body now that will run the affairs of the filmmaking. But that is still not there, and we don't know how far that is. And partly to that is that the communication, I mean, there still, in my view, does not exist a clear-cut communication and relationship between the Filmmakers Association and the NFC. Yes, there are efforts to do that, but I remember the years that Obed and I were there, like, for example, in the beginning of the year, when people are sitting and say, okay, guys, NFC now, what are we going to do? What program are we going to run? There was normally information sharing sessions that were used to be frequently held. And those are things, and at least that brought the industry closer to the mother legislator or regulator, if you want to call that. So I think maybe we should kind of revisit that kind of relationship and say, let's really be like close. Let's really be very close in relationship-wise so that we don't seem like it's them and us. And that we are here mandated by government to do things for you, but let's really have that partnership in all truth.
I actually had a question, sorry, VP. Obi, so you say that all FAN board members should sign an MOU if they serve on any external body. But for instance, if I am now part of the Karas Green Hydrogen, what is it, committee, what relevance does it have to this? Do I actually have to sign it? And then do you have all this, even the organization for the informal economy on which Fixon is? Does he, for instance, also need to sign that MOU? And how would we be able to draw that line between these are relevant within that context? Because you are a FAN member and representative, you need to then, I see hands popping up there, I love that. Okay. Okay, if you are representing the creative, because in this case, creative economy, yes. Okay. If we can get the mic, just for the sake of the online audience, man. Sorry, guys.
So technically that would mean then Shuna, who is a part of the Industry Development Committee at the NFC, would then also then need to sign an MOU. Is that what we're saying? Okay.
I hear what you're saying, but basically that was my question.
Because Shuna's role there is to represent the film ministry, the local film ministry, and then there's another industry representative who's also a FAN member who represents the international fraternity on that committee. That's why I invited them on there.
Oh, okay, interesting. So then both those people would have to sign that MOU based on that?
I thought it was the board, not see the other person. Nadia is just a member. She's not.
Yeah, good question. I mean, I'm just posing the question back. It's only for the board.
I think if we can find that section in the FAN constitution, it says any board member that serves on the government bodies, yeah, if I haven't read it wrong, yeah, so any government entity that a FAN board member serves, there must be that whatever is it? Yeah, MOU. It's because then you are representing this association, which is a members association, and you are serving on the government. At least that is the government that has a very important stakeholder in the whole thing here. So if I am serving on the American Directors Guild thing, you know, maybe that is in my own capacity, pushing my own things, and not kind of, there's no chance for conflict, the way I understand it.
Okay, so for example now, I myself in my other capacity as a member of the Presidential Task Force for Economic Recovery, because it's the Presidential Task Force, does it also then require me as well to sign an MOU with FAN? That's what we're saying. I don't know, maybe, yeah.
I think that is quite new, and that's where we're talking about the Constitution also. So that now these new things that came in, shall we adapt it to also that? Because, I mean, Here, the old constitution or the current constitution only says anybody who represents, like, be it now maybe on the National Arts Council or whatever, that has to do with the industry. That is what it's referred to in here. But then to update it, that's part of the constitutional amendments that maybe we have to look in. Even, I think there was an example last year when people had to vote online, whereas the constitution says by raise of hands, you know, at the platform like this. So all those things are what we need to go then line by line and say, how do we keep up with the times of these new developments, I believe. Everything that I say is really just my opinion, not cast in stone.
Yeah, so maybe in the interest of time, I mean, I don't know if we can exhaust that item. Maybe it is that, you know, a subcommittee together with the board engages a lawyer, puts together a first draft, and then shares it, you have it go back and forth. Otherwise, we have sort of a million options and we're going to go around in circles.
Okay, so we'll then continue to create that list in terms of the clauses we want to add on, and then the members can perhaps agree. But I think there has to be some kind of a voting to start that process. I don't think that we can just say, just because one or two people have commented towards a few changes in the Constitution, I think that maybe is also something to vote on alongside the nominations, just to officially adopt the possible, or at least the process of amending the Constitution.
That's ultimately also, I think, why it's there on the agenda is just to get that going. Because as we've been saying, the difficulty is to try and get all the ducks in a row and actually go through the thing, due diligence and everything. So that does take process, but then the AGM comes up again. In the meantime, you didn't have funds to do that. So if you could give the board then the mandate to go and look at constitutional changes, which would then be probably shared with the members and voted on outside of the AGM, because you can't wait from AGM to AGM just to have this discussion.
We have questions and comments.
Good morning, everyone. I just really want to ask MOU versus declaring conflict of interest, because the way I understand an MOU, and by law, even by the NAM code, you would need to declare your interest. So maybe in the film industry, is there a difference? Maybe if you can just explain it to me, why specific an MOU and not just declaring your interest, where you literally have a form, you declare the interest that might conflict, whatever, and then that gets filed with your secretariat or something?
Yes, it's definitely an option and something worth looking into when we have that discussion. But I think the understanding part, the memorandum of understanding part, is what are you mandated to do, what are you responsible to do, what are you responsible to give feedback on, what is your responsibility towards the membership, whereas a simple declaration of interest is just saying, I do that, so other than that you have no other obligation towards the community that actually empowered you to be there. So I would lean to think that MOU is probably the better thing in this particular case, because you have an expectation of these people that are in positions because of the members' support, because you wouldn't be there without FAN in a lot of these cases.
Okay, so just so that I understand, so so let's say, for example, we'll use Tuna as example. So she serves on this presidential committee, and she's also a deputy chairperson for FAN. So when you're saying, when she signs a memorandum of understanding, is that you expect her in her role as economic advisor to come and relay whatever information it is to empower FAN and their members? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, in short, but it's not as simple as that. It's actually quite nuanced, as we have experienced with our commissioners. Because also the body that you join also has its own requirements. It also has its own hierarchy and authorities, which you cannot breach just because you are there. You were, like, for instance, once again, Shuna. NDAs and all these things are obviously included in that. But what we're trying to safeguard is that you don't overlook your responsibility to the community that got you there in the first place. So yes, we understand there are certain things you cannot share with us. I think yesterday was a point, like a case in point, exactly, where we've been discussing things, but it's not our discussion. We're not leading the discussion anymore as FAN. So I first had to literally call Mayor and ask, how much can we share of this? Because, I mean, the people want the details. So yes, I think there is really room and possibly a need for that. But once again, that is an opinion. It's up to the body to decide how we deal with that.
Yes, Florian.
Yes, I just wanted to say, because I actually have the Constitution here, and about amending the Constitution, it does not have to be an AGM. The terms of this Constitution may be amended, etc., by the decision of the members in a general meeting. 4 weeks written notice shall be given of such a meeting, and such notice shall state the nature of the resolution to be proposed. So you do not have to wait a year for the next AGM. You just have to, in writing, let the FAN members know of a
SGM.
General meeting to amend the Constitution, and in that you also have to write the amendments that you're proposing, that we can vote on it. You do need 2/3 of the membership to vote, though.
Okay, perfect. So maybe we'd rather do that then.
Just one more thing, and this is actually an illustration of what I'm talking about, why it takes 7 years to get to understand an institution, okay? So the MOU that you're sending to the NFC representatives, already there's a conflict of interest because the members haven't read it, haven't seen it. Now you want to hold the NFC representatives accountable, but who can hold them accountable? The board or is it the members? That's how you tie the knot on a shoe, and it just, and you find yourself in a situation where you can't really do anything. Okay? So the idea is you share the MOU with the members. The members can also give input into the MOU in terms of drafting the documents, and then you send it to the representatives who are representing us. You avoid a lot of, problems down the line.
Noted. Thank you for that point. Okay, so I'm also just checking time now as well, because we do have to get into nominations. But before nominations, is there perhaps anything else? Oh, okay, sorry. At the beginning, I did say that I was basically going to give a short overview of the standardization workshop, and as well as the conversations around the NCCP. So with the help of the team and Ronald, we really did manage to set some standards and some rates, especially for the crew. We didn't get, and obviously there have been comments as well, so we went, line item by line item with the people that were there in the room with us. So now the next step is for us to sort of, include those comments and make the necessary amendments, and then we'll send it back to the industry as well for final revision before we present it officially at the IDC committee, right? If I'm not mistaken. Exactly. Okay, so yes. All right. So yes, our meeting is in 3 days. So the report or the documents have been sent to us. So we will, and they are live documents as well. So members can make their comments online within the next 3 days, and then we will then discuss it next week at the IDC committee before we present it to the NFC board. Just repeat it again.
Online people, yes. Okay, so copy and what did I say? Copy and paste, yes. All right, so I was saying that at our next IDC meeting, we were hoping to finalize that document so that we can then present it to the NFC board at the next board meeting. But what I'm suggesting is we can always keep the document on Google Drive, or what is it, Word doc, so that the membership can still put in their thoughts and comments on that.
And we'll do that we'll do the same for the actors' standards and rates as well. We'll upload them online as well.
Yes.
Because yesterday the conversation took a bit longer than expected on the NCCP, so we didn't really finalize the rates, but I think that we can propose rates, and then obviously comments can be made online as well, instead of hosting another day's meeting.
Exactly, and like I said at the standardization workshop, people who are working in lighting, they need to go online, look at the lighting rates, and put a comment in if they feel it's too low or too high. And then, so sound for sound, lighting for sound, grips for grips, producers for producers. Well, actually, producers could even go in and comment on anything because they pay people.
Okay, all right, perfect. And in regards to the NCCP, there were some comments from the room as well in regards to the components of the program. And I think we reached an agreement in terms of what our comments or what our inputs are going to be. And those will obviously be forwarded to NFC, and then they will deliberate and let us know what is possible and what is not possible, or if my laptop just switched off, so I can't even touch on them, sorry. But yeah, I think top of my head, because there were 4 components. The one was the national SOPI, and then the second one, initially it was 4 limited television series, and we made changes to include 1 feature film and 1 docuseries. One feature film and 2 docuseries, and limit the number of episodes. Sorry, I don't have the document in front of me. I'm trying to remember because it's been a lot of documents these past 3 days. All right, and then the third one was basically around the regional short films. There was a comment brought forward to say that can we perhaps maybe limit the episodes as well, and perhaps there was also another person who said can we perhaps even limit the regions because of a possible lack of capacity, and also perhaps just to allow people to collaborate. And then the last element was around equipment as well. We looked at the equipment budgets, and then obviously also the administrative budgets of the entire project. And we discussed the figures and the percentage as well that's allocated towards those components. So in a nutshell, that's that. We will update that document, and we will send it on behalf of the industry on Monday to the Executive Secretary at the NFC. Yeah, and then I think if there aren't any other questions from the room, yes?
Okay, good morning, everyone. My name is Teresia. Please excuse me, my voice is a bit scratchy. My question is, how many board members sit? How many fan board members do you guys have in total? And what?
7.
7. Okay, is there a treasurer? Things like that. Yeah, I would just like for you to kindly break it down. Chair, vice chair, treasurer, are there 3 or 4 additional members, just for interest's sake? And what are the requirements, right? And then the other one is, what is the IDC, the Industry Development Committee? What is that? Yeah, maybe just a little bit more insight. Thank you.
Okay, all right. So we are 7 members on the board. The Constitution makes provision for 7 board members. Ideally, there should be a chairperson, a vice chairperson, a secretary, and a treasurer. The other portfolios, the board can decide on what is needed or what is necessary. Once the board is voted in by the members, the board members can then go and deliberate and vote for each other and their various positions. So we don't do portfolio votings at the AGMs. We only vote for the 7 members to sit on the board. And Ronald will touch on the IDC committee at the NFC.
Sure, thank you. All right, so the NFC's mandate is to promote Namibia as a filming destination worldwide and also to develop a sustainable and thriving film industry locally. So the Industry Development Committee is a committee that focuses on ways and means of bettering the industry as such. And so that was one of the steps was with the working conditions. There are other elements that we're working on, but just to give you a little bigger picture of what we are looking at working on now currently is a film policy for Namibia, which I cannot promise will be finished soon, but it will include distribution policies, use of AI policy, or a whole bunch of different policies that we'll put into that one policy. So I hope that answers your question in that sense, is that we're just trying to develop the industry to a better industry so that we can all go home with a paycheck. What is it? IDC is the Industry Development Committee. It consists of 2 people from the Secretariat, myself, and then 2 industry experts. And so then we look through that. For instance, I'll give you an example of one of the things that also happens. The facilitator's criteria to be a facilitator in Namibia, if the criteria needs to be reviewed, it goes past the IDC first, so that we look at what are the criteria for someone to become a facilitator. Because you cannot just wake up one day and decide, I want to be a facilitator. You need to have done some work in the film industry. You need to understand the rules of filming in national parks and. So we are basically then tasked with creating those criteria in order to make sure that we don't have the wrong people becoming facilitators. Yeah. Thank you.
All right. There's another question there.
Firstly, just congratulations to FAN and the movement that you guys are doing. It's absolutely beautiful. I wrote my question down about the future of FAN, so I'll be reading. As FAN strengthens Namibia's film industry, has there been a thought around mental wellness? I'd like to breathe right now because y'all are looking at me. Our industry faces a lot of filmmakers who have burnout, pressure, financial struggles. So has there been an idea of partnering maybe with the Ministry of Health and Social Services, for example? So programs that I've seen is Screen Skills is a UK program that offer practical wellness workshops for film, TV, and documentary professionals with certificates which I've attended online. Even starting small, a program that could run twice a year, for example, for filmmakers just to address their wellness and how to improve their work ethics as well. So that could be a real change in the industry, because considering we are getting bigger, how are we taking care of filmmakers' wellness?
We're not doing that. We're not doing that. However, when we, for example, talk about engagement and communication with our members, it's not for us to say what needs to happen. The suggestions needs to come from the industry, and then we can see how to support those initiatives, right? For example, there is a representations committee, a regional representations committee that was formulated, with members. So the board, maybe 1 or 2 board members can be on that committee. So the same as they have the IDC committee at NFC, we are also able to have committees that tackle various issues within the industry. So if there are certain suggestions in terms of programs or initiatives that the industry feels that they need, it is the mandate of the industry to make us, the board, aware of it, and then we can see how to support that initiative and what needs to be done in terms of liaising with ministries or consulting with the NFC to see how can the ministry, our line ministry perhaps support us as well, or arranging meetings with Ministry of Health and see what kind of initiatives can we collaborate on.
please break down a timeline of how that works. For example, the ITC. How does decision making happen and what does that timeline look like?
So for that, it can happen basically at any point. We're not saying that once the board members are voted in, let's decide on the committees. The committees can pop up at any time in the year. You know, the Constitution doesn't limit us in any sense in regards to that. So it's just like a project or program that we come up with within the year, within our strategy, and that can then be incorporated in that sense. So there's no real procedural process that is required for that.
Good afternoon. This is. I just wanted to find out: is there some sort of document that highlights all the different committees and the associations and how it ties in, how each of them tie in with each other? Let's say there's a graduate that just came out of film school, or somebody just moved to Namibia, and they want to understand the landscape of the Namibian film industry. Is there something which says, this is what FEN does, this is how it ties to NFC, this is where IDC comes in, and what the different regional organizations and reps and so forth? Is there a document that highlights that can be distributed to anybody?
I don't think so, but I think that's a beautiful opportunity, actually. And I think that's maybe a conversation that we need to have with the NFC, and maybe that is something that can be part of the next board's, in one of their projects or one of their ambitions, perhaps, to create a document like that that outlines the landscape of the industry. But as far as I am concerned, no.
Yeah, we need one, right? Because I've also seen that the FEN website is a bit dormant, so it hasn't been updated for a while. Maybe we should do that. You know, time is going, right? So are we going to get to the next agenda point? And if we can we maybe also just, leaning on to what Louis said, can we maybe throw the FEN constitution on the whiteboard, please?
Okay.
And then just remind everybody what the aims and objectives of FEN is.
Yalo and Georgina, please post the constitution. If you guys can please project it. Not post. Project it, please, for us. But yeah, we slowly do need to get into nominations. Not even slowly, actually fast.
Okay.
All right. Orbit, perhaps while they are projecting the constitution, perhaps do you want to elaborate why you want to?
You know, I think what Louis mentioned here is actually quite a good North Star for us to have, because sometimes, you know, we come in and we have our own agendas, et cetera, and we forget what the underlying responsibility is and what connects us, all of us.
What are we calling it? Industry map and industry map?
Profile.
Industry map or profile?
Yeah.
Okay.
Response to that question also.
Okay, so the constitution is up. It's on the screen. Let's perhaps have a look, and then Orbit can also just reiterate this point or elaborate on his comment. No. Is there a reason why you wanted the constitution up? You requested for it.
Yeah, I want us to get to those aims and objectives, so that whoever is going to represent us, whoever is going to speak on our behalf, they understand what the aims and objectives are of FEN as an association. Because it's very clear. I mean, we don't have to beat around the bush. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. Everything was already put in black and white. It's just to make sure that the members and future members understand what the aims and objectives are of FEN.
Okay.
and underlined in the Constitution.
Yeah, and I think also this is important as well for perhaps anybody who's interested in becoming a board member, because this would be essentially your responsibility.
Okay.
But it's not to scare you.
Okay, we have somebody on the line. Caller, you are live. Okay, Ina, if you can hear me, you can continue, buddy.
Sorry, I didn't get.
We are experiencing technical difficulties, but then the technical guys want to beat you up because human error is not a technical mistake. Okay, just hold on. Ina, can you hear us?
Ina girl.
No, this big Ford, yeah, the SUV.
Okay, sorry, we didn't get that first part. You can introduce yourself, but you are live now. Please introduce yourself. You are live, Ina.
Oh, okay. Hi, I am Ina, local film, and I just requested that sorry, I'm on the move, so yes, pardon if it sounds bad. But I just requested that I just call in and make a comment, particular comment. Thing is, probably a few of you are tired of me now harping on this point as much as I have been. But I think it's important. I just thought that I use this platform and maybe address it as well. When I was on the fan board, I think back in, I don't know if it was in 2024 or 2025, I did try to bring to the attention of the board members that while we push for things like incentives, trying to attract international people to our country to come film and other things to make the film industry better, that there was a threat on the horizon. And this I had tried to bring to attention long before it was like very present and in people's faces, because I think from the VFX side, we had already seen it coming and seen what it could potentially do to the film industry. So my thinking is like with committees like the IDC and other committees, we need informed people sitting on those things and not people who, sorry, what I'm referring to is AI. We need people who are actually informed, not people who are like, oh, I use Midjourney, oh, I use ChatGPT, so I think I know AI, but we actually need people who understand how all these things work. LLMs, transformers, the people pushing this tech, and the humanities. We know a lot of this stuff is efficient, but there are human-related consequences. And as I've been chatting with a lot of people, a lot of the crew that I deal with, who initially were not clued up on what AI really meant for their industry, they begun to take like a fresh perspective on like, wait, what does this actually mean for humanities? What does it mean for human jobs? So my request is like a lot of the decisions being made as we're developing a policy and all these things, that we really have insightful conversations and clued up people sitting on these boards, because there are people who just dabble in this stuff and don't really understand what it could mean for our industry. Because we might be wasting our time having this meeting, discussing, and in a few years' time, we don't have an industry to speak of, simply because we were not clued up enough. So, sorry, yeah. In a nutshell, that's basically what I'm trying to get. I think we need to get informed and make sure we have the right people making the calls on these things, lest we are left with nothing of an industry to speak of in a few years. And this is how I see it. If we don't get serious. Sorry, I just felt I needed to make that comment. Yeah.
So that's basically a comment for the next board. Considerations, but I think also Ronald touched on it earlier on.
Hello, Ina. Thank you very much for that wonderful comment. Yes, you are right. We are not qualified for AI, not even close. But we do need to start somewhere, So we are going to try and start with a film policy, which will have at least some type of AI disclosure policy in it for people who are creating content, that they at least disclose the use of AI. But to get to an actual AI policy which governs the film industry, or that can protect the film industry, is going to take a lot longer. It will probably be another 2 or 3 NFC Commission tenors, because just for an example, Zimbabwe has a 74-page policy on AI, which the government sponsored. So yes, we are sitting in the IDC with this massive task, and yet I don't think we'll be able to get to that level of a policy, but we will definitely engage with you and other filmmakers so that we can find a way forward. Because AI is growing faster and cleverer, and if we don't do something about it now, we will be left behind.
All right, Byron, is that? Is there a possibility?
My name is Arnold Kweshibute. I am an actor. And before I make my very short comment, congratulations to this very successful last few days, starting with the standardization and accreditation workshop that took place at the National Theatre over the 2 days. And then today here we are with the FEN AGM. Job well done from the board point of view, and all the people that participated in making those comments, really in an attempt to shape the industry that we all want to see going forward. So far so good. Everything that have been said, everything that have been suggested, I totally agree with everyone else. And my really short comment is on the amended or soon to be amended NCCP document that the Vice Chairperson suggested that those amendments, as soon as they are done, then the document will be handed to the NFC Executive Secretary. My suggestion, or perhaps plea, is that can we have a look at the final amendments before the document is then submitted to the NFC, just for people to make sure that their comments and inputs were addressed before then it's finally handed over. Thank you very much. That was my short contribution.
Awesome. Okay. We have come to, unfortunately, we cannot take any more comments. If there are any concerns or comments, please do feel free to text us on the group or to email us. Whatever pressing comment or perhaps suggestions, especially for the next tenure you may have, whether it's the people in the room or people online, please do submit those on those various platforms. But through the chair, if I can we now start the nominations process and see who in the room wants to avail themselves to be on the board? Maybe Esther? Or what is the process? Okay. Thank you very much. Or do you have a comment? Okay, Jackson suggests comments from the outgoing board? Yeah. Okay. You have.
Okay. Good morning and good afternoon, everyone. As I've introduced myself, my name is Kunatela Jackson, outgoing board member. So I would like to anyone who's going to take over my position, please, you have to continue with what you have seen there. And some of you have received the report from me. You have to make sure that you have to use the resources what you expose, because you can't depend on the fan like for funds. I remember when I was chosen for the first time, the funds were still looking for the funds. I organized on my own from Katima to Rondo. As we are speaking, even this year when they were meeting, we were having a workshop. I was there on my own pocket. We had a representative from Haradap. That gentleman, I never went to Haradap. The moment I just met him somewhere, we started talking about FEN. As I'm speaking now, you can see on my reports, we have Haradap. We have some of the regions that still need to be there, FEN to be there to be talked. Don't wait for anything. As we had said, we are doing it, this one, from our bottom of our heart. We are not expecting money or what we want. And I'm proud that today, as I'm going out, I'm happy that we have 3 regions in Namibia. In 14, we are left with 11. We should make sure that the next board, people are going to take over. Cover those regions, please. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure, or not sometimes, but thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you.
So I think somebody has to also help us in terms of this process. Orbit, can you do us the... Yellow might need some guidance. And also she's there, yeah, and she's online and whatnot. We are... I think online, because online I saw, but how many people online are members online? 4 people online, and then in the room, how many? I think let's do it now because people do have other commitments. Yeah, yeah. Yes. So online we've got 5 members. Okay. In the room, who is a member? A paid up member? Paid up, so most of the membership has lapsed end of May. It's just a disclaimer, end of May, because that's when we're supposed to have an AGM. But the board postponed the AGM, and it is not your fault that you could not vote end of May before your membership lapsed. So there's still that grace period that will allow, but after today you will have to pay up. And Yalo will also let you know if your membership has lapsed or not. She'll send those notifications to you personally because it's a year's membership. All right, so as of end of May, who's a paid up member? And even the new ones, sorry, even the new ones that paid yesterday or that got membership, sponsorship, everything. All right. Okay, counting in the room is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 23, 24. So that is 25 plus 29 and
I believe it's 50%, yeah? Oh, Vixen? Is it 50% for the vote to go forward, quorum? 60%, 66%, 2/3. Oh, we have a chance.
Sorry. So that means that we cannot vote, but what is in the next step? Nominations can proceed, and then the voting can happen when and where? SGM. SGM. All right. Online? Okay. But just by a show of hands, are we okay with the online voting? Whoever agrees, please raise your hand. I think that is majority of the room. Okay. Awesome. And who will now assist us with the nominations? Okay, but somebody has to facilitate the nominations. Yes. Okay. All right, perfect.
Hello. So I stand here before you and nominate Zach and Mona. Thank you.
I accept.
I put on pressure. Yellow, just go back. I want to make sure what I'm signing up myself for. Yeah, okay. Yeah, no, it's intense, but it's great. Oh, okay, I will accept.
I would like to nominate Errol to be a board member.
I accept.
Good afternoon. I would like to nominate Tutu Mungoba as a board member.
Choma's in the room. I'm so sorry. I have to decline because I'm heading the cousin of FAN, which is Sisters Working in Film and Television. We are still waiting for our financial plenary to be signed out for us to then start our activities, but we are fully engaged. That's why I'm always just the fly on the wall. Yeah, but thank you so much.
I would like to nominate Lavinia Kapewasha.
Hi, everyone. Can we keep 2 members of the old board? So I nominate Shuna and Byron to stay, since they were chairing, if they do accept. Just to keep you, we have to keep people on the board. Longevity.
Look, we've done a lot of hard work in terms of this. Technically speaking, I have to accept the responsibility is there. It's just that it comes like a second after feeling this relief of, oh yeah, there's capable people, I can move on.
No, honestly, I was just saying that, oh, yes, thank God. I don't have to do this again because there are people now, there are people here. Okay, I accept.
We'll also go to the online nominations in a few.
Just double checking, we can nominate non-fan members, right? Okay. They have to be paid up to be membership, to be nominated. Okay. Okay. I nominate Abigail and Olivia Hainonim.
I'll say yes.
I accept. Check them now.
Hello. Yeah, so I nominate Armas. I am calling him now to know whether he's accepting or not. Come on now, Armas. He was going through difficult times, so it's normal. Come on now, Armas, come on. Armas, I'm nominating you. Please pick up your call. I know you're watching. Yeah. Armas?
Hello?
Yeah, I'm nominating you here. Will you accept? And maybe you can then also do your nomination. Just not me.
Okay, I accept, and can I do my nomination as well then?
Yeah, well, you have a chance.
Okay, there is Lavinia is nominated, that I wanted to nominate, and let me nominate Georgina also to come back.
Georgina? Okay, she got it.
I accept.
Could I please nominate Angela Varinga?
Oh. You want to say something else?
No.
Yeah, you don't want to say anything else?
No, it's all good.
Okay, thanks.
Like I said, I'd like to nominate Angela Varinga. And he has accepted, yes.
Kind of. I'd like to nominate Soraya Mentor.
I accept. Oh, I can nominate. Can I nominate someone who's been nominated?
It's already there.
Oh. I nominate Panache.
Unfortunately, I have to decline. Sorry, my time wouldn't allow it. Thank you, though.
Are you nominating anyone?
I nominate Dayola. Unfortunately, I have to decline. Thank you.
All right, I'm nominating Mr. Mej. He is amazing and I'd really love to see him on board.
Okay, I accept.
Are we concluding? Is there one more nomination?
Okay, I don't know if it's allowed again, but I nominate Georgina.
Yeah, she's already been nominated, but I also would like to nominate Yalo. If she doesn't accept, unfortunately, you have to be administrator, something, somewhere.
Oh.
You cannot leave fan.
Okay, I accept.
Thank you. So the next steps, so we will then provide the list of nominated people to the members in the larger group at large, the larger group as well, right? Just the members. Okay, just the members. But please note that if you are currently nominated and you have accepted the nomination, please do pay up your membership. As of today, everybody is required to pay up the membership as it's now officially lapsed. Because for you to be voted in as a board member, you should be a paid up member. And yeah, that was my next point. Yes. So
Just one.
perhaps maybe just, okay, there's one more. Ina nominates Orbit and Orbit is declining. So as you're sending your profile as well, so remember it's two things. You pay up your membership, it's $300 for regular membership, and it's $150 if you are a student somewhere and you are able to prove that you are a student registered somewhere so that you can get that discount. So please do send us maybe like a half pager, not a one pager, perhaps just a picture and maybe 1 or 2 paragraphs of who you are and what and why you want to serve on the film, on the board, and even specify perhaps which portfolio. So we will, alongside the nominations, we will also send out the various portfolios, but those are, exactly, they could change once the board decides, yeah, but we could have like provisional. Okay, Ina nominates Titch. Can somebody perhaps call Titch? I know why you're saying that. Okay, perhaps can one of, yeah, please call Titch, yeah. Yes, you had a comment.
Maybe not the phantom, but a supporting advisory board or individuals to the board. We know that mentorship is very key, and there are those ones who have walked the path before many of us. Class Captain Florian, Class Captain Vixen Angola, Class Captain Orbit, Dev, and of course, Miranda, it really goes without saying, and of course, Tate, Class Captain Tim Hapschler. You know, there are those ones that we, even though you have extraordinary meetings or meetings apart from the rest of us, that they can just come in and give in their 2 cents, especially with framework and governance issues that we're busy right now with. I think that is key from that aspect.
Thank you for that. I would perhaps propose to the next board that they perhaps set up an advisory committee. Yeah? Exactly, absolutely. All right, thank you for that. Is there?
So, I mean, I think, thank you, but I think it's our responsibility as the members to be there when these membership meetings happen. And it's for us to step up and actually participate. And that's why we do attend, actually, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. A brilliant suggestion, and I'm pretty sure the next board will have to look into that and take it up. But I also have to say, for the record, that the likes of Tim Hoopschler, Obed especially as well, I mean Florian to a lesser degree, but these are the types of people that I could reach out to throughout the 2 years in this tenure, and they would give me the most solid advice. They would even call me and give me a heads up, look, you guys are overlooking this or that, there might be a problem brewing there. And I absolutely appreciated that, and I think it's worthwhile mentioning, and applause to you guys. Thank you very much. Yeah.
There's a comment from Jackson.
No, not a comment. It's on. Not a comment. I've seen some of the guys were declaring. I would like to nominate myself to add on those ones, for those declarations.
Awesome, awesome.
I accept.
All right, so I think Jackson has just closed off the nominations. And now, yeah, so those are there 2 more? 20 nominations. Okay, awesome. So we've got 20 nominees, and that is really a record. So like I said, the next steps, we will share that list with everybody, and then everybody that's been nominated, please pay up your membership. It's $300. We'll send you the details as well, and please send us a few paragraphs of who you are, your name, and what you want to do. Tim wants 1 paragraph. But the second paragraph can please contain why you want to serve on the board, and also if you do have a portfolio in mind, that would also be quite helpful as well. So, and this is due by? The room, I'm looking at the room. Okay, and this is due by Monday, and then the voting process can start online on Tuesday morning. Online. So I think that okay.
Just go and click your vote. The last time we did it, the individual names were up on the group, and you could then vote for each one individually.
So I don't know if you want to do a WhatsApp voting or a Google form voting. I think a Google form voting. Yeah, and then everybody will be allowed to vote as many times. Is there a setting? Is it?
Everybody on the group is still eligible to vote because their membership technically would have only ended at the AGM. Even now, there is.
Can I suggest? Oh, wow.
Yeah, the membership group. Yeah. So, sorry, Diana?
I just want to suggest, if it's done via Google Forms, is there a way then to share that and also disclose who voted for whom? I don't know if that's constitutionally required, but I also don't agree with the anonymity suggestion. However, just some level of vetting so that it is disclosed if it is on Google Forms, because I don't know if you can then share. Yeah.
Yeah, my opinion is that it shouldn't be unanimous, or I mean, not unanimous, anonymous, because generally when you're voting, you vote in a place like this, where you can see everybody's face.
Precisely.
So generally it's transparent.
Yes.
So I believe that if we're going to do online, we should carry over that same transparency.
Yes, I agree. And then
voting.
just a question, so how many votes does each member get? 7, okay.
Okay, so each member gets 7 votes, not as many times. That's the correction on my end, because earlier on I said as many times.
I think everybody just got 1 vote, and then the top 7 were compiled out of that. That's how it was in the past. I don't say that's how it needs to be.
So is it 1 vote per person?
7 votes per person.
Okay, I was on a board I served for 2 terms for a foundation, right? I was their vice chair. How we did it is because this year in April, we had to re-elect a new board. So we were told that if you're a part of the old board, unfortunately, you will not be able to be re-voted. Just to give other people also, but if somebody, hold on, if somebody needs advice, they can always call, you know what I mean? But how we did our voting process was, we opened it up to the community because this is a foundation, right? And then we did it the way that people would do it at the polling station. You get a piece of paper, but there were people who were, how can I say? Yeah, 1 vote per person, basically. That's very fair enough.
All right. I don't know if we've got enough people.
Sorry, I just feel that if we have only 1 vote per person, that means, let's say, half of this room all votes just for 1 person. Then we're going to sit with a board with 1 board member. We need to vote for 7 board members so that we can at least see who got the most votes.
Question, would it be you have to spend all 7, or can you have 7 and you spend 3? Okay. Yeah, max 7, but you don't have to use all of them. Yeah.
Okay, if everyone is in agreement with that, say aye. Aye. Thank you very much. Okay, so each registered, paid up fan member gets to vote. So that is everybody who has been part of the membership now, as of today. Everybody who's here and who's been a paid up member, even if it has lapsed end of May, you are still eligible to vote, 1. And each paid up member gets to vote 7 times, or for 7 board members, maximum. If you do vote for less, it is up to you. And also please be reminded that this voting will be done online on Google Forms, and it will be transparent, Google Forms. Google Forms. And anybody who can help us with that sheet, please, because I don't know how to set it now to 7 people, to 7 votes. I don't know, how does one do that?
I just want to add to that, because now you can't go and vote 7 times for the same person as well. So it's 1 vote per person, please. Okay, to vote.
Can't have people that are nominated running this process, unfortunately. So,
Thank you. I'm happy to help with the Google form. I think I do know how to, you can extract the data and then you can share it as an Excel or whatever it may be. We have all the names and you put your 7 and we'll see I think maybe we can also mention spoiled ballot, I don't know, but we'll figure it out. And if not Google Forms, there's also Microsoft Forms. So I will help with that, please. Okay, which is going to be? We said we're starting Tuesday morning, right? 48 hours.
So we're going to list all the profiles, and then we start the countdown towards the voting, which will commence on Tuesday midday and finish Thursday midday.
Okay.
Deadlines for the profiles?
And close of business Monday. No, we said Monday.
Monday, okay. So Monday, by
close-
Monday we'll have the profile.
Yeah. So
Can we just confirm what time is close of business? Because some people may have a different
okay,
idea.
5 o'clock
5
is,
o'clock.
is close of business on Monday.
Can you maybe post the 7 portfolios on the group? Oh, okay.
So, yeah, so what we'll do is just for guidance, we'll perhaps post the current ones that we did have now, but not all of them are mandatory. There are some that are mandatory in terms of your chair, your vice, your secretary, and your treasurer. Just chair, treasurer, and secretary. Those 3 are mandatory. And then for guidance sake, we'll just post the current portfolios that we do have. But if there is suggestions, please also feel free to communicate those ones.
Like your areas of interest, yeah, or where you think you want to start.
Okay, so maybe just, Dayola, I'm not sure that you can limit how many votes somebody can do. Just maybe it needs to be part of that description. Only your first 7 votes will be counted. You know, as soon as somebody clicks 8, well then, sorry, we'll go from the top down and your first 7 votes get counted. But that's...
Look, I think there is a way.
No, I would just wanted to say because your first 7 will be the first 7 alphabetically, and that gives them an advantage. So anybody that votes more than 7, that ballot is out. That ballot is disqualified.
I second that. My question, I want a clarification on, will all of this be communicated on the WhatsApp group for paid members? Yes? As in share the Google form link, is that how it will be communicated? Okay, email as well. Perfect. Yeah, great. Fantastic.
So, I mean, just something for us to be aware of with Google Forms. I think people who vote on that need a Gmail address. So anybody who doesn't have a Gmail address will not be able to vote. Can you do without? Are you sure? Okay, cool.
Okay, I'm not sure about Google Forms, but I know that with Microsoft Forms, you definitely can limit. So you can just say, yeah. So if you can't manage with Google, you can do it with Microsoft Forms. But I just wanted to find out if we're saying that in the interest of transparency, we want to do it on Google Forms or Microsoft Forms. Why can't we do it on the WhatsApp group and vote? Because that's quicker for people.
That's a good.
But it's not anonymous because you will know. The idea is not to be anonymous anyway. We're not doing anonymous.
And also just for the results, the reports, the correlation. I think just to make it a bit more professional, I think I'd rather, I'd suggest that we, yes, Nayola.
So there's also SurveyMonkey, which is another platform we can use. So can we just clarify that it's not strictly, just the platform doesn't matter, however, it's online, it's transparent, max 7 votes. If you are more than 7, there's a disqualification. I heard a suggestion there.
Yes.
Come again? Yes, the data can be extracted for record-keeping purposes, and it is transparent.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah, names are registered, yeah.
No, if you're nominated, you can also vote. You can vote for yourself, you can vote for other people, so you can. Yeah. All right, so with that, can I, through the chair, previous chair,
Just about, Darla, when you make the form, put all the rules there, because I just have a question about the people that are nominated but that are not paid up members. They can't vote, right? Oh, you mean don't pay? Okay.
Yeah.
Because there are a few people that are nominated but they're not paid up, so I
All
just
right.
wanted to know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like I mentioned, by Monday, when you send in your profile, please do send us your proof of payment as well. Yalo will share the banking details and where you can pay. And everybody that's been a member until end of May, your membership is still, or your voting is still eligible. And what else am I missing? Can nominees decide to decline by Monday as well? Let's say if you change your mind by tomorrow and you wake up and decide to change, you can most still change and decline to be a nominee.
The profiles that we need to hand in, are they going to be shared on the groups?
They're going to be shared, ideally if you can email it to info@fanamibia.com, that would be great. And perhaps we can just put everything together, or Yalo can put everything together and send it to the group. Right? I'm just trying to do it a bit professionally. For record keeping.
Okay.
Can you please close off the meeting for us, Chair? Thank you.
Absolutely. This is actually such a watershed moment for this industry, if you guys think about it carefully. The maturity with which we handled a transfer of responsibility and power, it seldomly has happened as smoothly as this, as engaged, and you know what I'm saying, with such a good spirit to it. And I really want to commend the community for that. Thank you very much, guys. Very importantly, I'd like to thank the board that I have been serving with. It has been a tremendous journey. Yes, it has been bumpy. Yes, it's been up and down, but I think each one of us can walk out of this position with our heads held high and with a certain sense of pride that we actually did something meaningful, impactful, and lasting for this industry. So once again, thank you very much, Georgina. Thank you very much, Shuna. Thank you very much, Angelo. Thank you, Vixen. Thank you, even the previous members such as Esther and but I'm talking quickly just while I saw Mr. Kanutela there. Thank you also very much. The contribution was well appreciated. Ms. Melchior. Yalo, I think we cannot say thank you enough for your diligence and your dedication to this association. We cannot. It's really been wonderful, guys. And I think with that, the AGM for 2026 is now officially closed. Thank you.